Thank you for having me. It is great.
Great. And well, I don't know where you're located right now, but it's where I'm down in Point Fortin and it's a rainy day. So we're gonna hope for some sunshine and some investment tips as well. But before we get into NEL and before we get into the investment side of things, we need to tell us a little bit more about you.
Okay, sure, no problem. So I'm Venita Ramlal. I am the manager of investment and accounting at National Enterprises Limited. I've been here since 2001. Well, actually 2021, not 2001. I actually started my career off as a trainee in one of the audit firms back in 2006. And since then, I've worked through two of the big four firms in Trinidad. So an external audit background. So since I was around 17 years old, I knew I wanted to be in accounting and in the financial space. And here I am.
Accounting stuff for me after CXC. But go ahead, sorry.
Other than that, I am an avid lover of animals and I have a passion for helping people. So you'll find me always in some project somewhere doing something of the sort, volunteering wherever time permits.
Right, well, I'm in the right space as well. So I just said you're a rabid animal lover. What's your favorite animal? Can you choose?
Well, definitely be a dog. I'm a dog person, but I definitely have a soft space for the soft and cute.
All right. And you've been, since 17 years, what kind of inspired you in this pursuit of accounting, investment, and those aspects?
I've always liked a challenge. And in high school, in secondary school, I found myself, leaning towards mathematics, accounting, and stuff like that. And then when I was in Form 6, a couple of my friends and I, some people from the accounting team or class, we were invited by one of the big four firms to an open day, which was held at Crown Plaza, which was now Radisson. And at that open day, it was really at that point in time where, my decision was sealed as to what I wanted to do. It really opened my eyes and it gave me that opportunity. So, being 17 or 18, as the case might be, and being exposed to programs like YBTT and open days in general, it just helps you to figure out what you want to do or where you want to go or what your interests are really.
Yeah, I think that last part in terms of what you're interested in is most important, because sometimes you go into something and you realize that there's something I like about this. It may not be the whole thing, and that's where you actually find what is your niche, your space, and you put what you love into what you're doing, and I think that is important.
Yeah.
But I want to jump into talking about NEL. Could you give us an overview of what is NEL? What are the main focus areas about NEL as well?
Sure. So NEL is a publicly listed company. We were created back in 1999 and we are listed on the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange. Currently, we have around over 5,000 shareholders, both individual and institutional shareholders. So we were set up back in 1999 primarily to help individuals or citizens of the country get a piece of the pie, as we would say. And what that means is that NEL brought an investment opportunity to citizens to be able to invest in the energy sector, telecom sector, manufacturing sector, in sectors that were not easily accessible, or at least they were private investments at that point in time. So that was really the objective of NEL. And since then, we've been on the drive to increase our portfolio and to continue bringing value to our shareholders in the form of dividends and capital appreciation. So it's been quite a journey since then, and we've come quite a way. There's been a lot of changes in the landscape, as well as in accounting standards, in terms of legislation and whatnot. But since then, we've been able to continue to drive value or bring value.
Yeah, I think it's key for entrepreneurs, and the reason why we're having this conversation as well is key for entrepreneurs to understand. Yes, that accounting stuff accounting aspect of your business as well. But you also want to figure out the investment part and how do you utilize investment. And folks, we're going to dive in some tips about investment, right? Just letting you all know up front. So if you have any questions, you can drop it in the chat for us. But don't worry, I go ask them. Right? And I must say, NEL has been one of the supporters for youth business, our Jumpstart program in particular, for a couple of years now, right? So I think sometimes I don't even have to take down NEL's logo of the supporters for the year. Just leave it up because I know they're coming back next year. Right? So jumping into the topic of investing. Could you tell us a little bit about what are some of the fundamental principles that people should know when thinking about investing?
Sure. So when you really think about investments, a lot of people, they're fazed by it, primarily because they feel as though, one needs to be rich or one needs to have, a substantial pool of funds to be able to invest, one. And two, they feel as though, you need to have some sort of technical know-how. But to really debunk that myth, investing is for everybody. There is opportunity for the risk adverse, there's the opportunities for the risk takers. So really and truly, there is something for everyone when it comes to investing. So when you look at it, you can make investments as low as $100 or $500 to be able to get into the market, right? But really and truly, investments is a way to supplement or a way to create income or generational wealth, as some may be seeking, right? So investments in itself it takes some planning, it takes some thought. It really boils down to what is my risk appetite, what am I willing to do, what am I not willing to do. So when you think about investment, you think about where do you want to go? What are your long-term strategic plans for yourself, for your business? And then from there, you really take a strategic or a step-by-step approach into figuring out, okay, what is my financial plan? How do I build a portfolio? How much money do I have to invest? Do I need to seek advice? And, where do I go from here? So, while you may think you need some technical expertise, there are a lot of analysts, there are a lot of professionals in the field that are here to provide guidance, to provide that support to you. And
I think, Go ahead, sorry. Go ahead. You go ahead.
I was just going to say that as well, in addition to the professional advice that you can get, the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange as well as the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, they've both been on a financial literacy program. They've put out a lot of content, a lot of free workshops and seminars to be able to help those who don't have that know-how to start on their journey as well.
Great. And I like how you talked about kind of understanding yourself and your own goals even before thinking about investing. Because when we think about entrepreneurship and we think about entrepreneurs, people always come in with ideas. They haven't done the self-discovery. I think that's kind of what we do with Jumpstart. Right. Help them do the self-discovery first. What do you want out of life? Before you think about what business you want to get started, what do you want out of life? So even in terms of investing, what are your goals in life first? Do you have short-term goals? Do you have long-term goals? Or do you have retirement goals? And then thinking about how does investing help me achieve that goal and utilizing it as a tool, right? Investing is not the end goal for most persons. Investing is a means to get to your goals. And I think that is how do we interpret it from there? So if you had to think about someone listening to the call right now, thinking about, hey, Venita is making some sense. Right? I'm going into some investing there. I want to get started in investing. Right? What are some tips would you give them?
So what I would say is definitely look at your finances first. See where you are at right now. See where you expect to go. And from there, that will determine what your ability to invest is or how much you have to invest. So I think that's the first step, is really to take stock of where you are at now, where you want to be in the future. And start early. That is definitely what I will say, is start early, and the earlier you start is the longer you have to be able to generate that income that you want, or generate that capital appreciation that you'd like to see.
I think again, I just, as my entrepreneurial hat was always on, I'm always articulating that to entrepreneurship. The earlier you start, the more you can learn, and the more failures that you can learn from your failures as well.
Yeah.
Right? And it gives you more time, and it gives more time for things to happen. And that's kind of what we want to build, that start early, start now kind of mindset with person. So let's go into the entrepreneurial space. One of the things that I always try to push entrepreneurs to do is multiple revenue streams, right? And when you think about an entrepreneur's business, typically you only think about buy and sell, right? You're purchasing your raw materials, you're making your product, you're adding value to it, and you're selling it after that. And you only consider that as part of your cash flow, right? None of them really think about, should I put money into some savings or investments for later on as backing from there? So if you had to think through some benefits of entrepreneurs thinking about different types of investments to go into, could you advise an entrepreneur in terms of how should I utilize investments for my business?
Definitely. So when you think about investment, right, there are three main categories of investments, which are cash and cash equivalents, which we are all familiar with. That is our cash in our bank accounts, our short-term deposit, mutual funds, and whatnot. Then we have our fixed income investments, which is a bit longer term. And then we have our equity investments, which is where NEL falls into, right? So NEL is a publicly listed company, and we do sell our shares on the market. So when you look at those three types of investments, an entrepreneur actually have the opportunity to create multiple income sources simply by moving away from that normal cash and cash equivalent buckets, and starting to think about, do I have funds to invest in the long term? And if I do, should I consider fixed income investments? Should I consider equity investments? Because those two types of investments, they create interest income and dividend income. And a point to note, dividend income does not bear taxes, which is, a point that a lot of people consider. They're like, okay, well, I have more income, which means I pay more taxes.
Hold on, let me write that down. Dividend income does not incur taxes. Okay, go ahead. Make sure.
A selling point. I can tell you, a lot of my entrepreneurs, that is a consideration that they take. And equity investments actually bring that non-taxable source of income to you, which you could actually, have as a sort of rainy day fund or supplemental income in case of anything. In addition, equity investments bring capital appreciation. What we call capital appreciation really means the increase in value. So, for example, if you bought a share for $10 and then a couple months down the line, it's now $15. You've created wealth. You've created an increase in your investment, therefore. And if need be, you could actually sell that investment at $15 and technically make a $5 profit, right? So from that standpoint, capital appreciation, you could either, consider it as a long-term investment, a whole strategy, or you could actually be more active in the market and try to take advantage of those appreciations that we see on the market as well. So definitely, as an entrepreneur, you do have an opportunity. Like we said earlier, start early, determine what you need, what you have, what you want to do, and from there you can make an informed decision as to which of those type of investments you'd want to get involved in.
And I guess when you're doing your monthly accounts, your assets on your sheets look a little bit better as well. And I think it's building up that assets and collateral. So when you're thinking about even approaching an investor, because we're going to talk about that other side of things as investment as well, you're not only seeking to increase your revenue stream or increase your your assets from a investor standpoint, but sometimes you want to build your business to become investable, right? How do you now look at your business and say, okay, and I think a good tip would be that, investing in companies, as part of that, you're going to do some research into those companies, right? What are some of the things that you're seeing about those companies and making them good investments? And now you're trying to duplicate those efforts in your own business, right? Because you want your business to become more attractive to investors. Whether if you're going for a loan, right, you want your own business to become more attractive in that sense.
Yeah.
So you're looking at those aspects. What makes those business become good investments, right? What makes your business a good investment from that?
Yeah, definitely. And then just to
So,
add,
so I guess,
sorry,
go ahead.
just to
No, you
add
go
to
ahead.
your point, on your balance sheets, I mean, the fact that you do have investments on your balance sheet means that, you have collateral, you have security for obtaining any sort of loan from a financial institution if they'd consider it. So that's also another way of looking at it. While you may have the funds available, it's not necessary that you want to use cash. You could actually leverage that cash to be able to, or that investment to be able to get more capital.
And I want to I want you, if you can advise an entrepreneur, what would make their business a good investment?
So what I would say is that when it comes to your financial records and transparency, definitely good governance and being open and transparent in the way you operate your business, as well as keeping good records. Because when you look at investments, or when I assess an investment, the first thing I'd ask is where are your financial statements? Your most recent management accounts, and that is what drives the conversation. Your historical performance as well as where you want to go. So while keeping historical records is also it's very important. Having a strategic plan or an idea of where you want the business to go, and how does that translate into your financial records, also play an important part. So from any entrepreneur, definitely keep your records in order.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that people always neglect, especially when we always talk around ESG, right? We forget the G, right? We focus a lot on the E and the S and building those part of your businesses and making it more attractive. But that G is also very attractive, right? What does transparency say about your business? What does your business have any ethical records as those aspects? Do you have the right policies in place? Right? Do you have the procedures in place? When we talk about your financials, and you ask for your financials, am I picking up a box with receipts that say this is my financials, or do you have proper records? And it's not always that you have to do it on your own. Sometimes you can seek outsource help, but the understanding of your financials is also important, right? So you may not need to do your financials yourself as an entrepreneur, but make sure you understand it, because your financials also tell a story, right? And I think that is most important to them. So, I mean, we want to kind of wrap this up a bit. Any words of advice for an entrepreneur? I know you gave a couple a couple already, but any words of advice that you want to give an entrepreneur that we left out?
Well, just on the softer side of things, I'd really just want everybody to just believe in yourself and build a strong team which believe in you, and one that complements your skill. I mean, no man is an island, and definitely you see it once you start on that entrepreneurship journey. You realize that it's difficult to do it all on your own. So definitely build a team. Build a team that believes in you. Build a team that brings that positive energy, and definitely you will be successful once you are able to know where you want to go.
All right, so Venita, well, I think my coffee almost finished. So thank you, folks, for joining us. Thanks you, Venita, for sharing the insights. And I hope we kind of opened up different perspective for persons to start thinking of, yes, becoming an investor, looking for investment, but also being investor ready for yourself. right, and seeking out information. And for those who are unfamiliar with youth business, you can follow us on social media and our website as well. For those unfamiliar with NEL, be sure to follow NEL. Click like, follow, right? We will share it on their page as well. Be sure to check out their website to kind of find out more information as well. Any last words before I close off?
It was just a pleasure to be here, and we look forward to working with YBTT in the future, youth business in the future. I mean, it's definitely been a journey, and you guys have definitely helped us in trying to achieve our objectives in supporting the community, supporting the youth, supporting the entrepreneurship journey.
Great, and well, thank you and thank NEL as well for the contributions to YBTT. So folks, thank you for listening as always. It's been real. It's been nice. It's been real nice. We'll see you all next time. Feel free if you had any questions that we didn't answer and you want to send us a message, feel free to send us a message on that. All right, folks, take care. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon and, well, have better lunch and coffee than me sometimes. I don't know why. But folks, take care.
All right.